I'd like to start this video off by saying I am not a financial advisor. Should you choose to invest in Bitcoin or any other asset, do your own research or seek the advice of an actual financial advisor. Now, a quick recap of what has happened in the recent couple of weeks. We've been in a downtrend. We started this out as what was turning into a normal correction, and we were all expecting it to break in the upwards direction. However, the stock market decided it was just going to crash, and then so crypto also crashed. Bitcoin broke below the legacy trend line and it fell all the way down to roughly 3,800, and then it got a bounce off of the 300 weekly simple moving average, and when it bounced, it went all the way back up to roughly just above 7,000, maybe 7,100, somewhere around there. Anyways, from there it kind of just consolidated, and now we're trading at roughly $6,000, and where we are currently at is above both the 200 weekly simple moving average and weekly exponential moving average. So short term, that is technically bullish. There's also another place that we are sitting above right now, and I can show you that by moving into the daily time frame. And where we're sitting above is the upside of the previous downtrend that we were in 2019. Its top is now holding as support for the current price. If we can stay above this in short term, that's a good sign. And of course, we have to keep in mind that the moving averages, weekly moving averages, are they're kind of flatline where they're at right now. So if the price were to stay in its general area, that means that the price would diverge from this downtrend, as long as it held the 200 weekly moving averages that support one or the other. Now, I don't think we're going to just straight trade sideways, though, because what we've been doing, we've been consolidating, and of course this consolidation would lead to a breakout. And to see what we're exactly looking at, we have to zoom in a bit further, and what we find is that we have what appears to be a symmetrical triangle forming. Well, there's a couple of different ways you could draw that. I guess you can draw it from this peak and down here. That means breakout would be happening within the next day, or you can draw it from here and here. I think that one's a little bit more of a valid one. Anyways, either way, well, there's also the third way you can draw it. This is what makes this tricky, because when you're drawing these patterns, you gotta kind of hope you're drawing the right pattern that more people are watching. And so, like, say everybody's watching this pattern, but you have this pattern drawn, and you're expecting a breakout sooner. You put in your order expecting it to break out here, and it actually drops, and you get stopped out. It drops down here, and you get stopped out, and then it breaks out further down the road, and you miss the trade because everybody else was watching the longer, thinner version of the symmetrical triangle. You see what I'm talking about? It's sort of I mean, this, like I've said before, the stock market, the crypto market, all markets, they are a series of self-fulfilling prophecies. It's just a matter of finding which prophecy is more likely to be fulfilled. Anyways, either way you go, whichever symmetrical triangle you're looking at, it is still a symmetrical triangle, which means it is a continuation pattern of an uptrend on the short term. So that means we would be expecting a breakout in the upwards direction in the short term. And that breakout target, of course, would be basically the upper and lower bounds of the beginning of the symmetrical triangle added to the end, which I'd say we'd give that roughly $1,000 breakout point. So if it breaks out from here, it could likely send us back up towards the upper 6,000 range, lower 7,000 range. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, there's also something else that you guys have to take into consideration, because we can't, in this day and age, with what's going on in the world, you can't just simply go off of technical analysis off of just Bitcoin. You got to watch what's going on in the world. You got to watch the regular stock markets, because Bitcoin's crash recently was a result of everything else crashing. Everybody's panicking. Everybody needs money, and for good reason too, because we are in uncharted territory. We have no idea what's going to happen from here. Let me give you let me give you an idea of what's going on where I'm living. The most recent thing to happen was all non-life sustaining businesses have been ordered to shut down, and it is by law. It is mandatory that they all shut down, and there could be consequences for those businesses that do not follow this order. So they are taking more extreme measures to try to stop this virus from spreading. I think the next step is full-on lockdown where you can't leave your house. I don't think there's any other steps between what they just did and full-on lockdown. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I'm no quarantine expert. Anyways, there's another thing I got to talk about. Now this is just rumor. I'm not sure how true this is or not, but there is the possibility that the regular stock market could actually be shut down. I guess it's a thought that's floating around. I'm not sure exactly if that's going to actually happen or not, but if it does, it could have an impact on cryptocurrency. I'm not sure. I mean, if they shut down the stock market, that is an extreme level of market manipulation, and I'm pretty if any normal individual just goes and tries to manipulate any part of the market, it's illegal. They would get charges pressed against them. But when the government does it, it's perfectly fine. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be a free market after all. I mean, yeah, if you're stuck in a position that you need to sell your assets and you can't do that, you're fucked. There's no other way to put it. Crypto markets stay open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they will stay open through literally anything, including the global pandemic that we are dealing with right now. Which, in this day and age, at this time, if the regular stock market shut down, investors would technically, the only way they could go and continue trading and making money is if they move on into crypto, and that could give us we could see some price boosts from that, but like I said, I don't know how true that is. I don't know if it could just be, I don't know. You would just have to do more research on that, but yeah. Take in consideration of what's going on in the world when you're doing your technical analysis, and be prepared for anything. Like I said, if you have strategies in place, stick to them. You should do fine. Make sure you are carrying some cash on you. Don't put all your cash into stocks or crypto or anything. Make sure you do have some cash on you, because these are some strange times, and you have to be prepared for anything. What else is there? I'm gonna see if there's any news to look into. Okay, so Bitcoin stays strong as coronavirus fears crash global markets. Global markets closed the week under the bears banner once again. Oil prices dropped, economies declined, and the Dow Jones closed the week with losses of 17.3%, uninspired by promises of an incoming $1 trillion stimulus package from the U.S. government. Compared to last week's disaster, Bitcoin handled the deepening economic crisis with aplomb. It ended the week on a high note, currently trading at around $6,070, up from lows of $4,121 last week, according to data metrics on site CoinMarketCap. That's like a 35 to a 40% climb from its lows. So Bitcoin temporarily decoupled itself from the rest of the market. It went up as the rest of the market started going down, and that's definitely something that, I mean, whether this happens next week remains to be seen, because we've really got to see what the markets do when they open tomorrow. I mean, I looked at the Dow futures, and they are once again down, which is not a surprise. And like I said, there still are the rumors of the stock market being completely shut down. However, that remains to be seen. Like I said, it's just rumors. I don't know if it's necessarily true. You should look into that, do some research into it before you go making any decisions. But yeah, this Bitcoin last week has performed pretty well, given the fact that the world is dealing with one hell of a crisis at the moment. I'm going to leave the link to this article in the description below. You all can go ahead and read through the rest of this. It's a pretty decent article. Yeah. All right, we're gonna move on now. Okay, so over the past 24 hours, the crypto markets have seemed to have taken a little bit of a hit, but not too terrible. Bitcoin is down 2.1%, Ethereum is down 3.85%, XRP is down 2.7%, Bitcoin Cash down 4%, Bitcoin SV down 3%, Litecoin down 5%, EOS down 2%, Binance Coin down 2.5%, Tezos down 6%, Unis said Leo up 1.3%, Stellar down 4%, Hubei down 3%, I still don't know if I'm saying that right, Chainlink down 6%, Cardano down 5%, well 6%, Tron down 4%, Monero down 3%, so as you can see there is a lot of red in the market today. I mean, it's not necessarily too damaging of red, it's just single digits. If you've been in the crypto market for a while, you know that this market tends to do double digits a lot, so this is not too terrible. Bitcoin dominance has gone up recently to 65.3%. I mean, it did reclaim some of its dominance during that crash because, as you know, when Bitcoin drops, the altcoins tend to drop much faster, much harder. So yeah, that's the reason why Bitcoin's dominance has in fact gone up. But when the markets turn around and Bitcoin starts its main bull run for the post-halving bull run, it will likely lose its dominance again, and the altcoins will likely start to gain back their dominance. And as you know, if an altcoin season does fire up, there will be major uptrends happening. So, like, just to give you an example, the last altcoin season, Ethereum went all the way up to $1,400, and that's a bit extreme. I think I forget where it went up. It was I think it was only at a couple dollars before that. It may have been at $10, $20. I don't know. I don't exactly remember, but I know that it was quite a price hike compared to what Bitcoin did. Bitcoin did go up to $20,000, but that was from like $600. So if you would have bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and $1,000 worth of Ethereum, Ethereum would have made you more money. But Bitcoin, the reason most of my value is in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is safer compared to the rest of the altcoins. Because Bitcoin, if it does crash, it crashes, I guess, softer. I mean, it doesn't crash as hard as the altcoins do. Like, if Bitcoin drops 10%, the altcoins are likely to see 15, 20, 30% drops. So that's why despite the fact that there are the potential for higher gains in altcoins, personally, I see it best as putting most of your value into Bitcoin while diversifying into some of the altcoins with smaller portions of your portfolio. Now, what else? Okay, yeah, moving on. Okay, so this is for those of you who think that the recent crash may have broken the long-term trend, and I am here to tell you, to reassure you, that it has in fact not broken. So if we look at the stock to flow ratio, you'll see that Bitcoin's price tends to stick pretty close to it, but it is not all, it is rarely exactly on it, but it's within a general range. There's another stock to flow chart out there that actually shows a range around the outside of the stock to flow ratio. I mean, I know my drawing sucks, but it shows a range outside of the stock to flow ratio, both above and below it, and I think it shows it in like shades of blue or something like that. I remember seeing it, but I don't exactly remember where to find it. Anyways, Bitcoin's price tends to stay within that range, and times that it breaks out of that range are during, well, mainly during the peaks of bull runs, like the run to $1,000 back here after the 2012 halving, and the run to 20K right here after the halving of 2016, and it will most likely do the same thing after the halving of this year, 2020, and when it peaks, it will likely go above that range again. Now, just the general stock to flow price itself Bitcoin tends to stay closely to it, except, of course, during those peaks and during times of capitulation. Like, for example, November of 2008, right there, you could see that there was a far dip below the stock-to-flow ratio. Now, there's another time when the stock-to-flow ratio tends to get far from the price, and that is during the time of the Bitcoin halving. As you can see right here, during 2012's halving, the stock-to-flow ratio price shot up, but it took some time for the regular for Bitcoin's price to actually catch up to it, and by the time it did catch up to it, it ended up blowing past it both times. Like you could see that. Well, actually, during 2012, Bitcoin's price caught up to the stock-to-flow ratio and stayed right at it, but then it shot up again afterwards, and then it peaked. Then it came back down to it, of course, and it stayed within the range. In 2016, the halving happened, the stock-to-flow ratio price shot up, Bitcoin's price itself took some time to catch up to it, and then once it caught up to it, it ended up blowing past it again, and it shot up to $20,000. Of course, it came back down. Then when there was that capitulation in 2018, of course the price fell far below the stock-to-flow ratio. However, it did manage to recover and shoot up past it, and it kind of just took its time and realigned with it, and we are pretty close to the stock-to-flow ratio, even where we sit right now. So, personally, I am not worried about the long-term trend. The long-term trend is still well intact, and I still see Bitcoin reaching new heights that it has never seen before. Bitcoin is fundamentally strong. Despite this crash, Bitcoin's fundamentals have not changed. Bitcoin still is one of the most secure networks in the world, and Bitcoin will survive this. I truly believe that, and of course, you can't just take my advice and make your decisions based off that. You have to go and research this all on your own before you go making any decisions or whatever. But personally, I believe Bitcoin is going to make it through this. It may suffer some more losses. Yes, that is possible. It may end up going back down to $4,000, maybe even $3,000. But by the time when this crisis ends, Bitcoin will prevail. Bitcoin may even start its uptrend before this crisis ends. It depends on what happens in the regular stock market. It depends on how investors react to what happens in the regular stock market. It depends on if investors start to see the true value of Bitcoin sooner than later. There's a lot of things it depends on, but Bitcoin overall, I believe, will prevail. And with that, well, actually, we're gonna go check the virus map real quick too, just to see what that's doing. Okay, so COVID-19. From what I can see here, actually, I just looked at this map earlier today, and the total confirmed cases was at 316,000, and I think that was about 4 hours ago. It's gained another 2,000 since then, I live in the U.S., and the U.S. has 27,000 cases. The U.S. case count has actually exploded over the past couple of weeks, and it's getting worse. Despite the fact that we've had all these lockdowns put into place, it's spreading, and it's going to continue to spread. I don't see this slowing down anytime soon. Italy is really getting beaten down with this. Italy is at 53,000 cases. Spain is at 28,000 cases. The U.S. has been making its way up on this chart at a pretty fast rate, because not a month ago, the U.S. was like far down on this list with only a couple cases, and within the past month, it has made it all the way up to 4th place as the country with the most amount of cases. We are the fourth highest infected country, I guess you could say. So these efforts, the government can only do so much. The government can only put in so many restrictions and whatever to try to contain the virus. It's not going to stop with just their implementations. It takes everyone. It takes participation from everyone to do their part in order to stop this virus. Otherwise, it's just going to keep spreading, and these measures that keep getting put in place, they're not going to be very effective if people keep going out in public and going to do whatever the hell they want to do, then they're gonna just keep spreading it. If you're sick, stay home. If you're not sick and you don't have to go anywhere, you should not be traveling unless it is absolutely necessary. You should not be traveling unless you need to go get food or essentials. You do not need to be going out to go party with your friends or whatever. This is not the time to be doing that. Like I've said before, if you need any information on COVID-19, you can always visit the CDC's website or the World Health Organization's website. They have plenty of information available about this virus. And as far as I know, a vaccine has not been made yet, and probably will not be made for a while, because that is a time-consuming process, and it does, like I said, it takes a while. It could take up to 18 months for all we know. By then, this case count would likely be much higher. So, with that, what I have to say is, be careful out there. Do not travel if you do not need to travel. Do not go anywhere if you don't need to go anywhere. Keep sanitizer on you at all times. Keep distance from people, at least 6 feet of distance between you and anybody else if you're out in public or whatever. And if you do get sick, keep yourself quarantined. There's no reason to be going out in public if you have the virus. That's likely going to just spread the virus even further. So, always wash your hands. Do whatever is necessary. Do whatever you can do to help prevent the spread of this virus. With that, I believe that is all I have for you guys. I will see you all next time. I will try to get videos out as much as I can, but with everything that's going on, it's been a bit difficult. But I will try to keep you guys updated as much as I can. But yeah, with that, that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you all next time. Be safe out there.